guys, what's up? Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/eggs show. That's EGGSSHOW. Audible has more than 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or just about any device you can imagine. As Eggs listeners, you can download a free audiobook today by visiting audibletrial.com/eggs show.
Looking back, I don't really know how it started. I just wanted to feel alive, but everything fell flat, and that's when the pretending started. I was happy, so happy. Now I'm walking the fence between what's right and what's wrong. I'm telling myself whatever I need just to get along. I'm trapped in a box and I'm going crazy. Oh, the rush is worth whatever wake it leaves behind me.
Hey, what's up, guys? On today's show, we have two amazing people from Anacortes, Washington. One of my favorite places on earth, actually. I love this place. Today, we have my good friend Marlo Lynn, and she's the lead singer for Old Town Tonic, and her good friend who I met her on Sunday. She just rode 4,000 miles as a fundraiser, Elizabeth Jenkins. She biked across the country to raise money for Chow, which is a food service program for kids in need. And I'm really looking forward to this interview. So I guess without any further delay, please welcome my friends Marlo Lynn and Elizabeth Jenkins. How you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you, albeit
Nice to meet
virtually.
you too.
We need to get like a video system set up so you can actually see him on stuff like this, because I feel you got this faceless entity somewhere in the United States.
I don't know. They're honestly probably better off not seeing me.
Right.
Oh.
You know the old adage, I got the face for radio, you know.
Oh, no, for me, it's just the opposite. You know, it's for their own protection. They don't want to see this. They want to know what to do with it.
So I guess let's get this started. Let's start with Marlo and talk Old Town Tonic.
Okay.
And it actually works good because Liz is Marlo's good friend.
Yes, she is.
And so that's actually why I'm in town. Is I had a wedding in Chelan on Saturday, and she had told me about your event that was coming up, and she's like, "Hey, we'd love to have you here." And so I just drove overnight, came and played, and it was it was a lot of fun. I guess what I'm getting at is you guys have a backstory. You've been friends for a while.
We have been friends for a long time. And when I started the band, actually, it was just the beginning of me writing lyrics. And I needed a really quiet place where I knew nobody would bother me. And so Liz would be working during the day, and I'd just go to her house, play the piano.
Eat all her food out of the fridge.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly.
Hey, you're out of crackers. Come on.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Leave her food.
Yep.
But the bonus for me is I'd come home and get to hear beautiful music and sometimes really funny lyrics and
Yeah.
we'd laugh and drink wine. And it's great.
Well,
So a lot of the songs on the EP, I at least 2 or 3 of them, they either started or completed at her house. So it was pretty fun.
that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about Old Town Tonic. Have you always been into music? I'm sure it's something you appreciated your whole life and just decided, I got to do this now. Your kids are out of the house right now, right? And that's kind of been your motivation to start the
How
band.
much time do you have? Jeez.
I know.
Right, we got lots of good stories.
I was born into a family that was pretty musical. Raised in a church that was all a cappella, and so I was raised doing
Singing
just
and
that.
being in a choir.
And one of my brothers, I'm the youngest of 6. One of my brothers spent a lot of time with me from the time I was 2 years old. We have cassette tapes of him teaching me harmonies and songs and playing around. And so it was never really music was never put out there as something to be famous at or make money at.
It was just something you did.
It was just music and family.
Yeah.
And that's just what we did. And that was just part of who we were. So when he went off to college, he's 12 years older than I am. When he went off to college, he would send me cassette tapes, and I would send him cassette tapes of just talking to him and singing to him, and he would sing. We'd continue
back and forth.
Yeah, we'd continue that.
Oh, what was the band that
really
did that?
fun.
Was it like Radiohead? Or no, it wasn't Radiohead. There was a band that like two of the lead singers formed this band that they literally just emailed tracks back and forth and worked on them and released a whole album that way. And
Nice.
that's going to bug me. I'm going to have to figure that out.
But then, when I was in third grade, I talked my parents into letting me start playing piano. So I took lessons for 3 years, and then I was always super impatient. Like I just wanted to sing. I did not care about reading music. It was really boring to me. I was just impatient.
Yeah.
I've learned to play when I was about 5 years old, actually, with no lessons, just by ear.
Kind of by ear, improv kind of thing.
Yeah. So by the time sixth grade came around, like I was like, I'm done with this. I'll join band, and then I did choir.
What did you play in band?
Clarinet.
Nice. I was trombone.
Really?
So bad.
Hi.
My sister played flute, but
yeah. So, and I did little competitions. I sang it at church, and just little things here and there. And then I got married when I was 18, and we had kids right away. And music was just what I had when I was young. That's what I did with my kids. We just sang, and we listened to a lot of country, and I was just being a mama. 20s and 30s was all around that, and I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a recording artist, but it just never seemed like that was something that could really happen. You know, like I didn't really know how to make it happen, and it's like, that's it. That ship sailed. I'm just gonna be a good mom, and I was, and then they left.
And now you're like, oh, now what?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And I decided to go back to school. I started doing some research on some of the artists that I love, like Sarah Bareilles. Like, how did she get to where she was at? Oh man,
I play her stuff at weddings all the time.
I love the piano-driven stuff. It's just, I don't know, I just love it. And she has a communications degree, so I went after that. And it wasn't very long after I started going back to school that I met a customer at Starbucks. We started doing some open mic stuff, met Jim.
You used to run that, right?
The open mic at the Brown, no.
No, at Starbucks. Like, I remember I was working there one day, and all of a sudden you kicked me out of my chair and said, move. We got something going on. I'm like, all right, fine.
That sounds
But I appreciate it. I enjoyed the show. Yeah.
I'm not the manager. I was never the manager there, but I did manage the music program.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so.
That had to be fun.
It was fun.
Do they still do that?
Well, I just left a couple months ago after working there for 9 years, and I continued to book people through the fall, and then no one else is going to take it over, so it's going to die, which I'm a little upset about. But it's okay. We'll find another place to do it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you were working there, and you met like Jim, and who were you? You said
the original guitar player. His name is Michael.
Okay.
Him and I started doing open mic together, and then Jim, I guess, came in and saw us play and talked to Mike about it, and we went over to his house. He said he had a studio. I thought he was full of shit. I can say that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. And then showed up at his house and was like, "Oh,
okay. Let's do this.
Then." And he was like, "Well, I'd like to play bass with you guys at an open mic." We did that twice before we were booked. And the guy that booked us was like, "Hey, I got a big band coming into town. I need an opener. You need a drummer."
Was that
like,
Eric?
Well, crap. No, his name's Tom.
Okay.
He was the one in charge of bringing that band in. And so I just happened to know a drummer, and he told me that he was in for one show, and that was it. And he never left. Him and Jim were like long lost brothers or something. They connected, and Chris, our drummer, said that he'd never been a part of anything that was well, the practice was like what he was used to in LA when he was there. And he was like, this is awesome. And
well, just the talent level that Jim brings to the table and the knowledge that he has is insanity.
It is. He's brilliant.
He's one of those guys that just knows everything about everything about everything.
Yeah, that's true. And if he doesn't, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. Very smart. He's an audio engineer. He's an amazing bass player and guitarist. From what I hear, I haven't seen him play the guitar.
Yep, he's great.
And Nathan as well is an awesome guitarist.
He sure is.
Saw him just even the other day at your show. Just on an acoustic guitar, he was shredding, and I was like, "This is awesome!" So
what's fun for me is I've known Marlo for I don't know how many years, a lot of years.
So many years.
I've known Nathan for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Jim as long as he's been in town. So, and then Dave, who plays the keys. I've known him. Our kids went to preschool together. So I've known the members of the band, most of them, for more than 15 years.
And now they all came together.
And they're all my friends. So it's fun for me.
And none of us knew each other at all.
No, they didn't know each other, but I knew each of them.
We all met at open mic, except for Nathan. I actually hired him for the Starbucks program.
Okay.
And so when we needed a new guitar player, we were just racking our brains trying to figure out who we could maybe reach out to. And we lucked out with him. Like he does a lot more than just show up and play guitar. Like for me personally, like you don't see it, but if I'm losing my lyrics, he's got it. Like I'm like, oh, I don't. He reads me really well, so it's
When your guys is just the way the band works and communicates, and just it's almost like a family environment, which I love.
Yeah.
As
absolutely.
a DJ, you're just a lone wolf out there, and you're all kind of fighting for yourself. And when I was working with bands in Phoenix, that's the one thing that I missed the most was the camaraderie and the everyone trying to work towards a single goal.
Yeah.
It's much better to have 5 people doing something than just one, and you can do so much more. And I just love it. And it's cool because you get to come and kick it with your friends and play music at the same time.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. It's neat. It's fun.
So you just recently released an EP.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 4-track EP, right?
Yep.
How did that go down? Like, did you record it with Jim, or was it somewhere else? Or because he was deployed for a while, right?
Yeah, we did about 80% of the work in his studio.
Okay.
At the time, and then he had to go, and so we finished it up here at the Unknown with Nick, and that was a great experience as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's great.
I think I've seen photos of his studio. It looks pretty.
Oh yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
So.
That's pretty fun.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Can you talk about just, the importance of having a good sound guy around, because there's a lot of these bands that either don't have access to somebody like that or whatever, like even with this podcast, like I get pretty spoiled because I've got a guy like Mike that can come behind the scenes and do all the audio work. So, I mean, how big a perk is that? And then not to have him just be a good engineer, but be in the band.
Yeah, it's huge. When he left for deployment, I knew nothing about setting up.
I remember I came to a practice one time,
dude,
and you were trying to figure out the in-ear monitors, and it was borderline like argument about to break out, and I was like, "Can I help?"
Yeah,
so,
it was
talk Marlo down a few times.
Yeah,
Jim was gone.
It was that's an understatement. He left a huge hole when he left, and we made it work. We went through, I think, 3 or 4 bass players, landed on Pop Chris, and he was great. He was great who
I've also known for 15 years.
We're just going to go through your Rolodex.
She's just going to come and I'll just fill her up with more band people.
Yep. But I grew. I was a totally different person when he came back. Like, I still don't know a lot about sound, and I found Tyler Birch came in as the sound guy at the time, and he's still helping us out and learning. But I was very happy to just turn all that back over when he came home.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for knowing all aspects as well, and not just being the singer,
not just being the pretty face behind the mic. Yeah.
Seeing how everything goes together. I really enjoy that part. I enjoy breaking down. I enjoy loading up. I enjoy putting everything together. You know, I don't really want to be the lead singer that's in the green room just waiting for her cue to get on stage.
Now come out.
Thanks
You didn't get the M&Ms right. I'm
right.
sorry.
Right? You know, I mean, I want to put the hard work in. I don't want it to be given to me. And a lot of times I feel like it has been given to me because these guys are just so wildly successful in their own, you know, what they,
Nathan,
knowledge
his own,
and what they know
yeah.
and their experiences. You know, I don't have that. Like, I'm writing a song right now that's, I can't remember the name of it. But the idea is they're always teasing me about, like, where have you been? Have you been living under a rock? I'm like, yeah, it's called Mom. Like, I've been a mom for 20 years.
So true.
And I don't, you know, when a song is played, don't ask me who the artist is. I don't know. I mean, I could maybe tell you what movie I saw it connected to, or
a lot of, for me being a DJ, you know, I came up from a religious household, and so a lot of the music that everyone listened to, I didn't really listen to.
See, me too.
So like I'm coming back, and I'm like, I'll still hear stuff like from the 90s. It was like a big track that was huge, and I knew nothing about it.
Yeah,
and it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, but I'm listening to so much more. Like, I didn't know who Sister Hazel was. I don't know. I was like, what? I don't know what I'm listening to right now. Like, maybe you should not say that out loud.
Because you're surrounded by like all these music aficionados.
I know.
And you're trying to fit in.
Because I'm like, I'm sorry, who's that? I've gotten from the guys so many times. Marlo, really?
They almost compete with each other. Who can find the most obscure music?
Well, that's the way it is.
Really?
They're always like, they'll mention some guitar player from like the 40s that,
who's that? Yeah.
But, okay, so you released the EP, Jim's back. What's next? What are you guys planning on
so
doing?
Excited. So we've got a couple shows this weekend. One more show in Anacortes. We're trying to push that big because Old Town Tonic probably won't show their face around here until next March.
Taking a hiatus.
We really, you know, I'm really happy about the popularity. People like the band, and we're not having any problem, you know, finding places to play, which is great. But all the focus on those shows leaves not very much room to write more original music, and we really want to come out of the gate strong.
Nice.
You know, so I'd like to have a full album that we are all on board with and love at the very latest next March, and be able to tour with that next year.
What are you, so describe your music to people who haven't heard you.
You know, it's really hard. It's hard to put your finger on. I think we're still developing that. Everybody has such diverse backgrounds in music, and I think you can hear it when you come and you listen, in just the way that we take the covers that we do and rearrange them. And like I said before, you know, Jim is brilliant, and he puts all of those together. But the funnest thing for me, like we did, did you hear us play Ring of Fire?
Yeah.
That one was, Jim sat down with the guitar and he was like, hey, I came up with this. Have you heard this song before? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, everybody's heard Ring of Fire, I think. He was like, don't listen to it. Just sit here with me and sing this song the way that, just do whatever is in your brain to do.
So,
and that's what happened.
That's cool. I've never thought about that before. Like, don't listen to the original.
No,
just sing the words to what I'm doing and cover it that way.
Yeah. So really, like not knowing the music has been a strength in some ways, because
you're doing you, which is cool.
Because I remember whatever I heard on the radio way back when, like the gist of it. So you're not changing it so much that it's just totally obscure, but enough that I can keep that integrity of the original music, but then do our own thing. So I don't know. It's always funny to me because I sit down and like Ring of Fire, just sang it, and he was like, okay, we need to record that right now. I'm like, really? Is it that? He's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
that's cool.
You know, it's fun. So that one will be fun. So I would like to record that one.
Sometimes the covers like outshine the originals if they're done right.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that are like that, and if they're done correctly, they can be really cool. Writing originals, though, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
The creative process of like getting 5 people in a room together who are all musicians and be like, okay, I got this lick. What do you want to do with it? Or, you've been working on some vocals or lyrics, and then they kind of have to write to it. How is the creative process for you guys? Is it just kind of jamming and going, or do you guys start with something?
I'm excited to explore that even more. The EP was, we were just starting, and like the first, I can't remember the way that the tracks go, but like Rush was written, just Jim had written the guitar track, and I was kind of dragging my feet on lyrics, and he basically was like, here you go, take this, go write some, I don't care if it sucks, Marlo, like don't come back to the house till you're done writing.
How is that to be vulnerable and put your stuff out there? Because writing lyrics to me would be one of the hardest things to do.
Right.
Playing music or whatever, like I can read notes, I can do this, I can do that, but to have my brain has to come up with what I want to say and how I want to say it, and it has to sound good.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
Now we've done it in all ways. Like I've written lyrics to a song that's already finished, like with Rush. I've the other 3 songs I sat at home on my piano and just really brought to the guys a skeleton of a song. Basically, it was like, here, this is what I have, and then being willing to not be married to it, and just, okay, what can we take out, what can we add, that kind of thing. We do a lot of collaboration with Craig Whitaker, one of Jim's best friends in New Jersey. And so Craig and I did a lot of Skyping or FaceTiming.
Is he an audio engineer as well, or a producer?
Yeah, they're together, man.
Well, we're going to get Jim on at some point and talk, because he's got a home studio that he's been putting a lot of work and effort and time into. So we would love to get him on and just talk shop. So
absolutely.
But he has an interesting backstory in the live industry too, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was fun for me. I got to watch Old Town Tonic in their process because they came to my classroom.
Oh, and played at school?
Yeah, I was teaching a unit on poetry to 5th graders. And they came in one day and they worked with my kids, and they wrote a song with my kids just right there in the classroom.
Really?
And it was really fabulous. My kids were talking about it the rest of the school year.
I can imagine. That's something that's a life changer. Like for me, I went to a... Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I just said, the pretty influential moment for a lot of kids.
Yeah. I got started DJing because I went to my uncle's wedding. And I saw this guy up there having fun. I never really saw my parents dance. And I was about that age. Yeah. And I was like dreaming about it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Props.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's been really fun. And, now we have this time, right? Like Jim's back. Everybody has a little bit more time in their schedule. So I'm really excited to get everybody in one space and develop these songs together at the same time.
That'll be fun. When are you going to start doing that?
Probably the end of September.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
A little bit of vacays and things going on in September. So yeah.
Well, cool.
Start the process then. It's hard. It's hard work. It's really fun, but it's hard work.
Well, I mean, like doing this podcast is hard work.
Yeah.
Doing a band where you've got 5 people to manage, you've got the schedules, conflicts, like it's just me and Ryan, and it's just tough, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think though, like a band or like a small business or like anything, right? I mean, if you enjoy what you're doing, all the work is worth it.
Absolutely.
It's all there to sort of serve you. So you're working hard, but you get all the pleasure from it at the end of the day, and so it's totally worth doing.
Yeah, I've never worked this hard in my entire life, other than raising my kids.
Yeah, It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. So raising the kids.
Right.
So yeah,
Well, he's going through that right now. How old are your kids, Ryan?
I've got an 11 and a 7.
Oh,
And you got a dash here quickly, don't you?
nice.
I've got an extra minute. I just asked
Okay.
the people at the auto garage to hang on to my car an extra minute.
Oh,
So,
cool.
but yeah, no, my kids are big music fans. I mean, Mike and I both have a pretty deep history in music. And so my kids have had a number of run-ins and meet and greets with different bands we've known and stuff like that.
Nice.
You know, super, super influential in their lives. Like, you know, it's sort of, I mean, they're big key moments. Like if you were to ask my kids, you know, what some of their favorite things were, it's those moments that they met so-and-so. Or I remember our youngest, the first concert we ever took him to was Flogging Molly. And the opener was this band called White Buffalo.
I was there.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
Yep. And after White Buffalo's set, we went out to the merch booth and stuff, and they were out there, and they shook his hand and they put him up on their shoulders and all this stuff, and they just had this great time with our kid. And I mean, but like, you know, now he's like a raging White Buffalo fan at 11, you know, and it's like he has no business being a fan of theirs, but he loves it. And
go ahead.
oh no, but that was just the point. It was just that, you know, that I think music can be so influential for a lot of kids. So your story about them coming into the classroom, you know, like those are big moments for people, and especially people musically inclined. You know, it sort of helps them find their way, I think.
The key is making it accessible for kids.
Yeah.
I teach in a district that's accessibility is an issue, and so it was really awesome to be able to bring in some real live musicians to these kids that are upriver and don't have that kind of accessibility to music. So.
And just the ability to see and experience it, let alone, you know, work with them and talk with them in their classroom, which is pretty cool.
I think it was more nerve-wracking for us than it was for them. Like, I hope they're not going to be bored.
You could have come in with a kazoo and they would have loved it.
They were thrilled.
I guess now's a good segue to get your story. Liz or Elizabeth? How do you want? Liz, okay. You grew up in Anacortes as well.
I did not. I grew up in Los Angeles.
Really?
I did.
No wonder she knows all the musicians.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in a place called Downey, California. It's right in between Compton and North Long Beach.
Okay.
So probably not a place you'd go vacation.
Oh, so the nice part of town then.
Yeah, probably why you don't know where it is. I went to got my undergrad at Whitworth University over in Spokane.
In arts, right?
Education in art, and then I did my master's in creative arts.
Nice.
So that's my background. I taught, and then I was doing nonprofit work for about 17 years while I was living here in Anacortes, raised my son here, and then went back to teaching. And so now I'm back in the classroom and loving it. And this next year, I will actually be an art teacher, which is amazing after 17 years. Teaching art and music. So it's going to be awesome.
And it's the 5th grade level, you said?
Well, I was teaching 5th grade. Now I'll be teaching art and music for kindergarten to 6th grade in the same buildings.
Nice.
All the little guys.
Yeah, that's got to be a fun age because they're still creative. They haven't like bent over to social peer pressure yet and like shut their mind off to being fun.
That's right. Anything's possible.
Yeah. That's awesome. Tell us about Chow.
So the school I work in is a Title I school, and what that means is it's mostly made up of kids that are under the poverty line. So at school they get breakfast and lunch, but on the weekends many of my students do not have access to food in their homes. So Chow stands for Cutting Hunger on Weekends. It's a program here in Skagit Valley that utilizes actually our newspaper delivery people, and they deliver food bags to children's doorsteps.
That's brilliant.
On Friday
That's
mornings.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so when kids get off the bus on Friday, they have a bag of food for the weekend. And it's not just a bag per household, it's a bag per child. So households that have multiple kids, they actually will have food for the whole weekend.
What kind of food's in it?
It's food from the food bank. Okay. So this is my plug. Don't give your food bank garbanzo beans. Like, what kid wants to eat garbanzo beans and expired pimentos? Like, nobody wants that. Like, I think they try really hard to have kid-friendly food, good nutritious food in those bags. But it's whatever's available at the food bank.
Is it locally funded?
It is locally funded, and the program is administered through Skagit United Way.
Okay.
And so any of the donations go right through that organization, which is great because then it's a known organization, right? It's
You don't have to worry about some shady guy keeping
you don't. And so that's been really great to work with them. So just really passionate about that. I'm face to face with those little cherub faces
every day. and seeing them go home and know that they're going home to that.
Yeah.
That's got to be rough.
Yeah. And oftentimes, we talk about behavior problems in the classroom, and sometimes that's because they're hungry.
Yeah.
I
Just
don't know.
that simple.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm hungry, I get hangry, and it's real hard for me to be suitable to be around people when I'm hungry. And
Yeah.
so if you can imagine not having food for a whole weekend and then coming to school and being expected to sit and learn and be ready to be your best, and it's kind of impossible. So anyway, so I'm passionate about that.
How long have you been working with them?
That program's been going, I want to say it's been going about 1.5 years or maybe 2 years. And so I've been really pumping it for my children at school. But when I decided to do this ride is when I just decided, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it with a passion.
So you've been in the bicycling world for a long time. I don't assume you just woke up one day and I'm going to ride across the United, because I would do something stupid like that. That would be me.
Yeah, I was going to say $4,000 isn't or
4,000 miles
is not the ride. Somebody who just got their first mountain bike.
Yeah.
No, I it's a little sickness I have about how much I love in bicycles.
Very true.
It is true.
Yeah.
So between working nonprofit and going back to teaching, I took a little sabbatical and worked for a couple seasons at our local bike shop. Met a lot of people who do touring and got really excited about that. I love cycling. I've led lots of local rides and have taught cycling classes for.
There's actually theory behind it.
Cycling's amazing. So I've been cycling, road cycling, and pretty seriously for about 15 years.
Okay.
So
Do you do the SDP at all?
I've done the SDP multiple times, both one day and 2 days.
See, my buddy does it, but they always want to do the one day. And I'm like, I'll try that, but I don't want to do the one day.
Yeah.
2
days is like a party. 1 day is
a lot of work.
It is no joke. 208 miles in one ride. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Todd, you're crazy, by the way.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm the same kind of crazy.
So what was the motivation, I guess, or what gave you the inspiration to try and pair your passion for cycling with your passion for helping the little ones?
So I really wanted to do this ride, and the opportunity came up because my son is one of Marlo's kids. We raised kids together.
Yes, we sure did.
We sure did. We have lots of stories about our kids. So anyway, he's grown. He's a barber in Spokane, and so here I am now teaching, have the summers off. It gave me the opportunity to really pursue this kind of bucket list ride. And, but it just didn't feel right to do something that epic just for myself. That just felt weird to me. And so I thought for a long time about and Marlo's part of that process with me, like what would be the best benefit, and what am I most passionate about that I want to benefit from this, because it'll draw attention. People notice when you do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So landed on Chow because of the little cherubs in my life.
Makes total sense.
So when did you start this journey?
This specific journey, or the whole
bike
process?
I guess the whole process, because
let's talk about the process, because I'm really
the logistics
curious.
have to be insane.
The logistics are crazy.
Just mapping the thing out is out of control. I actually know a kid from Holland, and I was talking to him, and he had this idea. He's like the guy, each summer he'll walk from like Malaga, Spain, back to the Netherlands. He'll spend all summer hiking from one end of Europe to the other. And he had this great idea that he was going to come over to the States and ride his bike. And I was just like, hey, buddy, do you know how big the United States is? He just had no idea, because they don't have a point of reference over there for how large.
Oh, really?
It is. And he just thought he was going to sit and ride his bike across the country. The same way he's walked across Spain. Now, don't get me wrong. To walk across Spain is still a feat, but that's like Utah.
Right. Right.
So, can you talk to the I guess the logistics and how this thing got started and what it took to plan it and all that good stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been planning it maybe 1.5 years, maybe almost 2 years. And there's a group called Adventure Cycling. They're out of Missoula, Montana. It's a nonprofit group. They have maps all over the world of different routes. So the route is actually already planned.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and they're bicycle routes. So you're not on the interstate. You don't go into major cities.
So you're not going down I-5 trying to get.
No. I mean, I did have to go into Cleveland, but I was all on like bike routes, and bike paths. So that was. So that part took a big piece of it out. I don't know if I could have done all of that because it was pretty intense. And the maps include places that are like hostels for cyclists or places that are bike friendly. And because it's an established route, the communities are used to cyclists coming in and out. So the motorists are great, the restaurants, all of that. And oftentimes when I would pull up to a campground or whatever, they'll, oh, you're a cyclist? It's $10 to camp, or it's $5 to camp.
That's awesome.
Or camp for free, which was great. And so I had lots of support that way. So the process, I bought those maps and took a look at those. And then I worked with my cousin, who is a physical trainer down in Bellevue, Washington. And he worked on a training schedule for me. And so I've been physically training for the last year. And he's been training me basically over the internet. He sends me the workouts, and I send him kind of all of the data from my workouts, and then he adjusts and makes it all work together. I don't know how the science behind it, but he figured it out. And I was well prepared, so that was good. And then I just started gathering gear and working with my local bike shop to get my gear all set. And
did they sponsor you?
They were amazing.
They did.
That's awesome. That's cool.
They did. They gave me the bike that I rode, which was a Trek 520. It's a really traditional steel-framed touring bike.
Why steel instead of aluminum?
Steel doesn't vibrate like aluminum, and it's stronger, so it can hold more weight. It's more comfortable to ride. It is heavier.
Yeah. Well, you've already got extra 40 pounds or more probably just in gear that you take with you.
Yeah. So my bike and the gear and the water was 84 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a pretty heavy bike. And I'm sure it could have been lighter, but, I needed all the things I had.
I'm sure along the route, I mean, like repairs are going to happen. Like, I mean, how many tires did you go through? It's
not as much as you'd think. Having worked at the shop, I picked up a lot of mechanical kind of skills. So I had all my tools and I had all the replacement parts. I had extra spokes. I had all the things that I could possibly need. But I only had one flat tire.
Really?
And it was because the tire was failing. It had been 3,000 miles and I was in Kalispell, Montana. And so I just threw that tire away and got the other tire that I had brought with me, the folding tire, put it on, and off I went. So that was great. I did have some rack issues with my front rack, but that was more of a manufacturer issue, and they were getting a strongly worded email from me.
That duct tape roll saved your butt.
I'm so unhappy. But I had a couple of very gracious people that were not even bike mechanics, just really handy men that fixed my rack for me, which was great.
That's awesome.
So not too many mechanicals, but part of that was I'm pretty fastidious about checking everything every morning, checking tire pressures, checking my chain. I replaced my chain in Muscatine, Iowa, because I knew I was at 50% life on the chain.
It stretches.
I'm super nerdy.
And then it'll come off. Yeah.
Yes, it does stretch, and then it causes problems in your cluster in the back. But anyway, so knowing all of that mechanical side of it really helped me because I could really keep my bike in good shape all the way through, and then I didn't have mechanical issues. That's part of it's same with DJ work. Like you show up, and if you have a blown speaker, if you have a cord that's bad, if I get a short in one of my cords, I cut it in half because I don't want to think that it's a good cord and show up and have it be broken. Right.
Because that one $15 cord could cost me a $500, $600,
right.
X amount just by having a bad cord. So I'll cut it in half and then I'll save the cord and fix it later. Mm-hmm. But that way I just don't think that it's, good and then don't have it.
Yeah, that's what
so over 4,000 miles, you said like 50 some odd days to get through it?
56 days.
And did you were telling me about an app that you use to kind of get rooms and stuff. It's made specifically for cyclists. Yes. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I did do some camping and I stayed with friends, but probably my best experiences was with Warm Showers. It's an app for touring cyclists. you register with the understanding that you'll host as well as participate. And so you go on the app, you open it up, it has a map and little pin drops of people who are willing to host a cyclist in their home, or let them camp in their yard. I had all people except one that were, I have a spare bedroom. And so I actually had a bed.
Nice.
And they'd feed me and I could use their laundry and take a shower, which was amazing. That's all you want.
Just necessities when you're like, I'm on the road right now, so I feel your pain.
Yeah. If you just cook me food and I don't have to eat one more hamburger in a pub, it's great. And, I had some really great experiences with local families. And what was part of this journey for me was really connecting with local communities and finding out what they were doing to care for kids in their communities too. And so those were great conversations to have around the dinner table with these folks that were hosting me.
Did you have like a ongoing PR campaign kind of promoting across the nation?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people doing that. Like I think a kid or a high school kid ran across the states a few years ago and had like a big news thing following him.
Yeah.
Were you able to generate stuff like that? Or
I didn't have so much of that, but I did keep my blog up, and then I have business cards that have my blog and also where people could donate. And it was surprising to me how many times people would take that card and they would follow my blog. And so I have all these random people from around the nation now following my blog and interacting with me, which was really great, because when you're lonely and on the road but you have 10 messages to respond to, you don't feel quite so lonely.
Yeah.
Like you've got people you're really interacting with. And so that, and then Facebook and Instagram, and then my friend Marlo Lynn did such a great job with the Finish Line event. So it was really, I don't know, it was an incredible experience to be able to connect with people across the nation, and still stay connected at home with technology. So
yeah, it's amazing how that helps just make your life just that much better.
Yes.
Like you can see like, oh, I know this person and it's cool what they're doing, and you don't necessarily get to see them every day, but you can kind of still keep the connection.
It was pretty cool to pop onto the app and see exactly where she was at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
A
pretty
few
cool.
people had that.
Oh, just a few people. That's right.
Not
So-
everybody had it.
So
but
can you talk a little bit more about the route, like where you started, how it went, and then, if you had any like interesting stories or came across anything crazy along the way?
You need a lot of time for that, but I'll just give you a couple. So the route's called the Northern Tier Route, and it started in Bar Harbor, Maine, and essentially come across the northern part of the United States, so through New Hampshire and Vermont, around Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. So spent some time swimming in the Great Lakes, which was cool. Went to Niagara Falls, climbed up over the Appalachians, over the Adirondacks. So those were amazing things. And then across the Midwest, dropped down just a little south to avoid Chicago. And so came across Illinois and Indiana, and across the Mississippi and Iowa.
How is it going through like that neck of the woods this time of year with the humidity and the hot temperatures? That had to be pretty rough.
That was really rough. It was right around 4th of July. I was getting a touch of heat exhaustion at one point and had to find a warm showers host because I couldn't be out in the elements anymore. I was just getting ill. But it was like 97 degrees and 75% humidity.
Oh, man.
And the heat off of the pavement, which that was the worst part. It wasn't even so much the sun. It wouldn't cool overnight. So then the pavement was still hot at 5 o'clock in the morning.
You're getting up and your feet are warm.
Yeah, and you're still puddling in the heat at 5 in the morning. So that was hard. It was about 10 days of really hard, hot weather.
Is it acceptable to ride at night?
Maybe. I mean, some people do it, and I think people do it when they're in groups for sure. But being a solo and female and just all those things, I decided that was not a good option. Didn't
you go with someone else?
No.
I saw something with
No, I was solo and self-supported. I had a friend join me in Winthrop, and she rode over the pass with me. And then from that point on, I started picking up riders. People started joining me along the way, which was intentional, and I had invited people.
Okay.
So, as I came in, but I, for 54 days, was solo and
Rhonda Hardcastle.
Don't know who that is.
I must have looked something else up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Rhonda,
No idea who
nice
that
to
is.
hear about you.
Don't know.
Okay, never mind. So, well, solo is impressive,
It was crazy.
and thank you for doing that. I'm glad to have found out about Chow and to hear about something cool like that. Are you planning on doing this again sometime, or is it I'm done for a while? You'll go 5 years from now and be like, okay, I want to do this again.
Cycling, yes. A big tour like this, yes. Solo, no.
Okay.
I was sharing with Skagit Valley Herald this morning that there were lots of times where I was very lonely. And in my life, I'm not lonely. I have really great friends. I have great community. I live in a beautiful place where there's amazing people. I have amazing roommates. I have a great boyfriend. I have a lot of family. I have people around me. And so loneliness isn't a normal part of my life. And I was very lonely on this trip, and my friends were concerned about me. And I assured them, no, this is a good thing, because now that I have felt the depth of that kind of loneliness, and I feel like I can relate and reach out to people who are lonely more. And I know there's lonely kids, and I know there's lonely parents and people out there that don't have the same beautiful kind of connections that I do. And so I think it's given me more compassion. So I'm really thankful, actually, for being lonely on this trip. So it was great.
So when I ride, I can't really I don't like having music on or audiobooks or something. I have to be able to hear the traffic. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why you were so lonely, is you couldn't get distracted.
Right.
You were in your head the whole time.
I was in my head the whole time. It's a scary place, Marlo Lynn. So I can't either. I really like to stay on, because when semis are passing you at 75 miles an hour, and you're on a road, and worse than semis are old dudes that have never driven anything bigger than a Toyota Corolla.
And they got their RVs
with a boat behind them.
Right.
Oh, they're the worst.
Oh, I hate them. I spend so many, I drive a lot, and it's this time of year. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their brand new RV with their $50,000 truck that they just bought, and they have never towed anything before. Yeah. And I love to sit in the campgrounds and just watch them try and back it up.
It's ridiculous.
It's the funniest thing. Yeah. It is so.
And then try being on a bicycle next to them in Montana, where
going across the bridge or something. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So I feel like I have to be on my game. So I didn't really listen to that, and I also felt like I didn't want to use my battery on my phone for that, because my phone was pretty much my lifeline for directions, for home, for safety, for everything. And so I didn't. And at night when I was in the campground, I was often charging things and not, blogging and that sort of thing. So not a lot of interaction that way. So it was pretty lonely, other than meeting people in campgrounds and restaurants and bars and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Rockfish released a beer in your honor called the Beautiful Exhaustion. And I just wanted to, I think it's cool. Is that something you lined up, or were they kind of?
Rick did that all on his own. I may have been the person that took that on, but this community loves Liz. It was very, very easy to be like, hey, this is happening, and it's happening on Sunday. Everybody was on board. And Rick just he had just posted something on the Rockfish 2 hours before I even contacted him, and I didn't know. And he planned all of that.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, we're going to do it. We'll do it right here. Do the backyard garden. He developed the menu. He chose the beers. And then he's the one that came up with the label of one of their normal
beers. They have a tap handle with it on it, right? They actually made a tap handle for it.
I was just there before here. I went and had a beer down at the Rockfish.
That's pretty cool.
And and I'm staring at my face on a tap handle. That was just, it was really weird.
Crazy. And the mayor, I had no idea. Her speech was so amazing. And the mayor decided that August 12th was going to be Liz Jenkins Day from this point forward. She has a day named after her.
You know what I didn't know?
It's amazing.
Anacortes has a town crier.
Yes, we do.
I didn't know that was. I saw this guy.
Been friends a long time.
That's so funny. I was like, what is going on?
Rich is also
he had a bell. I could see him doing good in the school.
He did.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's why I love Anacortes, is because you have that here, and it's a real community, and you're surrounded by the big city, but it's the small gem, especially if you know people, the locals, and you're not just a tourist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I lived here 17 years, and I love this community, and it's really my community, and that's just I just love the people here, and
and
it's my place. It's my little place.
So, well, I think we're getting to be about that time, but I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ryan didn't get much in today.
I can't wait to meet you in person, Ryan.
Yes, of course. Well, and I think we had looked at coming up there in September, but it might be more like October-ish now. But
perfect.
So maybe
That's perfect.
I came out a couple of years ago for what is that? The Oyster Run.
Oyster Run,
and that was pretty fun. It was cool to check out the area. But
that was back when.
Now with some friends up there, we'll have to come check it out.
Yeah, come to Oktoberfest.
Are they doing that now?
Yeah.
Is that new?
Beer on the pier.
Beer on the pier, dude. Yeah, you guys.
How long have they been doing that?
It's amazing. I don't know, 5 years maybe. It's pretty cool.
How come this is the first I've heard of it?
I don't
That's
know.
my kind of place.
It's pretty cool.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got links for to give on our page that people can donate.
Great.
I am 100% behind the cause. I would recommend that you go and donate. Our Old Town Tonic, what's your website? How do they get a hold of you?
OTTband.com.
OTTband.com.
And it has all of the shows and links to all of our pages, Instagram, Twitter,
Perfect.
Facebook.
I think you can even buy merch off the website.
Sure.
Check that out. It's a nice site.
Thank you.
So,
and then you can still follow the blog, I guess.
Yep.
Are you contributing to it still, or is it dead now?
I'm working on a post right now because if you look on my blog, purposefully while I was writing, I didn't keep it completely up to date because I needed to be safe and not have random people following me on the actual road. So I've got a couple more days to put up and a finish line blog. So I've got at least 2 more entries, but I'll probably keep going. I've got some other ideas.
Well, because what I love about it, I mean, and not to derail or get into a whole nother conversation, but
way to go, Ryan! I was getting us out of here and everything.
I know I've got an Uber on the way, but I like this living life intentionally bit, and I've been trying really hard in the last couple of years. I spent a lot of time as a young designer with my sort of nose down, just working at the computer day in and day out, and sort of let a lot of life and social experiences and things like that sort of go away. And then at one point I pulled my head up and went, holy shit, like everything's gone. Yeah. And so after that,
I had to reconnect with you at one point.
Yeah.
Like we had a falling out.
Yeah. Just like everything was gone, and I mean, falling out's probably a little strong. Like I wasn't like, there wasn't any bad blood or anything. It's just, I was so wrapped up in what I was doing that everybody else just faded away. They were living life. And so at some point I realized all that, and I sort of decided to course correct. And since then, developing like personal relationships and living life intentionally has been much more top of mind for me. And I wonder, is that, I mean, because I can hear it just even in your voice, and the reason that you did the ride in the first place and all that stuff, like everything is coming from a good place, and all this talk about community and beautiful people and all these things that you're saying, like I can tell that it's just a mindset that you've got. And I wonder if you could talk just quickly about that before we get out of here, just sort of like, where do you pull this, passion for life from, and if there's anything you could give to people who, are trying to find their way out of whatever hole they're stuck in.
You're going to make her cry, right?
She's tearing up. It's going to be a cry fest here. I'm a sappy guy to begin with.
Oh, gosh. So Beautiful Exhaustion, which is the name of my blog, came from this place of, I've been working so hard, and it's one thing to be exhausted, but beautiful exhaustion is that sense of, I have worked really hard, but it's for a purpose. And you lay in bed and your head hits the pillow and you look back on your day and it's like, today was good. Today was a good day. Might not have been easy. It might have been really hard, but I connected with people. I loved people well, and I've been loved well. And so that's how I want to live every single day.
Yeah, who wouldn't, right?
That's where I want to be. And that's the person I want to be. And so I don't know, I look at my friends and I think I want to pour into them and just love them and just intentionally be present with them so that I can hit the pillow every night just beautifully exhausted.
I love that. Great way to
really
end.
Great. And I think that's a great way to cap this baby off. So yeah, so do check out Old Town Tonic, ottband.com. I'm going to give you a link to the Beautiful Exhaustion blog because it's kind of long, but beautifulexhaustionblog.wordpress.com. And definitely worth checking out. Also, be sure you check out the Skagit Valley United Way for how you can support the Chow charity. And if you don't happen to live in Skagit County, find other groups that are doing similar things. Like you mentioned that your school is a Title I school, and my mom has taught in a Title I school for 30 years now.
His wife is a teacher, by the way.
Yeah, my wife teaches also.
Awesome.
And she's, however, not in a Title I school. But just you see what these poor kids are having to deal with, day to day, between bad family, even if they are getting fed, maybe they don't have the best family situation or, whatever else. And I think it's really important that people chip in on these kinds of things, whether it's financially or food bank donations or whatever, but do something to help your local community. And,
my mom sews quilts for my aunt, who is a social worker in a school district, and just giving blankets to kids. I mean, like you would think that they would have a blanket, but they don't.
It's really about doing what you can do. I can ride my bike. I can be in front of kids. Marlo can sing, and Mike can DJ, and we use the platform that we have, that we've been given, and we do it so that we're intentional about loving the people around us.
Exactly. So, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yep,
it's been a pleasure, and we'll let Ryan go catch his Uber. So.
Yes, I'll have to get the car. I actually had to call the tire repair shop and say, hey, can you just go stick my keys in the center console of my car and just leave it? And we'll hope nobody steals it because I wasn't going to make it in time. So, but I'm glad I stuck around. This was an awesome conversation, and we really appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
So cool. And with that, thanks so much. And we'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Spend your life looking out the window, framed up like your favorite show. Frozen while time that passes by you explains why you didn't go. Come out and play, always know. Insecure but for no reason. Well loved but your heart's a mess. You wanna run but your friends won't let you. So now what comes next? Yeah, what comes next? Hey girl, I'm just like you. Had my moment in the rain, but before I threw in the towel, yeah, I wiped those tears away. I got up out of bed, gained perspective in the beauty all around. Don't settle for less than what you can be. But babe, don't let your vision fade. Listen to me. You were raised to be a fighter, who says no but always plays nice. Turns out the tapes that play inside her are always thinking twice. Well, now take my advice. Hey girl, I'm just like you. Had my moment in the rain, but before I threw in the towel, yeah, I wiped those tears away. I got up out of bed, gained perspective in the beauty all around. Don't settle for less than what you can be. Oh, babe, don't let your vision fade. Listen to me. Girl, I'm just like you. before I threw in the towel. Yeah, I wiped those tears away. I got up out of bed, gained perspective in the beauty all around. Don't settle for less than what you can, baby. Babe, don't let your vision fade. Listen to me.